Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and I'm here today at RIA with the last and one of the very scarcest versions of the Remington rolling block. This is a number 7. This particular one is chambered for .32-20, although the majority of them were actually rimfire calibers. 22 short, 22 long rifle, and 25-10 Stevens rimfire. Now the story behind these were low production, boutique, and very expensive. And the only reason that Remington really introduced these and made them is because they had a leftover supply of frames from their 1871 pattern rolling block pistols. This had been a small frame version of the Remington rolling block for pistol calibers, and it wasn't really very successful. And I should say in this, guys, it was just a pistol, no shoulder stock, short barrel, but it just didn't sell very well. And Remington ended up with a lot of leftover frames. So what do you do with them? Well, the thing you can do with them is turn them into a really nice light target rifle. You can use the small frame as long as you use small cartridges like 22 through .32-20. They have this very nice, comfortable pistol grip shape to them because they were originally intended to be a pistol with a pistol's grip. And so you mate that up with a really nice set of aperture tang sights and a nice long barrel, and presto, you have the number 7 rolling block. So let me show you the features up close. They're beautiful guns. Color case hardened receivers, very nice checkered fancy grain wood on there. I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful little rifle. A little bit of a fancy end cap on the pistol grip. Now for markings, we'll start right here. The serial number is on the bottom tang, and these were serialized in their own unique series, starting at number 300,001, so 300,000 series guns. We have the Remington Arms Company information on top of the barrel. And by the way, these were all half octagon barrels. The standard was a 26-inch barrel. You could get 24 or 28 by special request, and a number of them were gotten that way. But they are round up until basically right where the stock starts, and then octagon. This one has its caliber marked on the bottom, 32W, that would be 32 WCF, or Winchester centerfire, but it's a Remington gun, so you can't actually write Winchester on it. That would be unspeakable. That's 32-20. The front sight folds, so you have two options. You can have the hooded, that little background, you can have the hooded bead, or if you fold that forward, you can have what is probably an ivory bead on there. The whole front sight is windage adjustable. You know, these are meant for target shooting, so it's important to be able to get the zero just exactly right. Typical rolling block rifles will have a rear sight out here on the barrel. These do not, because they were meant for target shooting. Instead, we go right to the top end of target sights, that being a rear-mounted, tang-mounted aperture sight. So this pops into the vertical position, but you can also fold it down when you're not using it so that it doesn't get damaged. Note that this is screw adjustable for elevation, and the actual aperture piece here is threaded into the stem of the sight, so you can get different apertures if you like. The idea of this is that you have a little small pinhole that you actually look through, which should align pretty much with the size of the hood on the front sight, and then this large disc blocks out the rest of the light. So it allows your eye to really focus on the sights and the target instead of what's going on around them. Kind of the opposite of what you would want on military sights. The action, of course, is a standard rolling block action, so you would cock the hammer and then you can open up the breech block. There's a little extractor right there. Load a cartridge in, close the breech, and then fire. It's got a really nice trigger on it. Note that the tang here and the tang sight have a nice curve to them, so it gives your hand a nice comfortable place to grip the rifle. With a stock design like this, otherwise you can tend to wind up in like C96 Mauser territory where there's no place for your thumb to go and you have to deal with something like this. But no, Remington designed this out quite nicely right there. These were introduced in 1903, and like I said at the beginning, they were expensive. When they were introduced, it would cost you $24 to get one of these. By comparison, you could get a much more standard number 2 pattern rolling block for half the cost, 12 bucks. So very much a limited production item. Had this been new manufactured, it really wouldn't have made sense to produce, but because it was made on leftover surplus frames, that's worth it, even if there isn't a particularly high volume of sales. They would run until 1910, when they stopped selling them, and a grand total of just 350 were manufactured. So they have ended up being very scarce today, of course, and I suspect this would be a magnificent gun to take out onto the target range for some formal old school style, not quite Schutzen, but like the more friendly, practical version of Schutzen. Be a lot of fun. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.